From an individual angle, I think this president fucking sucks. He's not even a Republican, one Republican expert let me know, considering the GOP's early existential emergency in the period of Donald Trump. Surprisingly, Washington's Republican bog animals are stood up to with a beast that is not of their own making, a president who is a reflexive tribalist, however an untrustworthy traditionalist. It's not precisely an emergency of soul, at any rate not yet, but rather it's not lost on the GOP specialist class so scorned by Trump that they're doing as much as any of his most fervid supporters to prop up his hailing political standing. Of all the distressed elites muddled by Trump, none face a trickier estimation than the dull craftsmen of the right, whose conspiratorial forces have dependably been oversold. Trump wouldn't be president today if political agents had a scintilla of the draw envisioned by the president. It is valid, nonetheless, that they don't care for the president all that much. They're stressed over his tweeting, his tone, his conduct, his character, or scarcity in that department, hostility strengthened by his generally sentenced reaction to an uprising of racial oppressors and against Semites in Charlottesville, Virginia, that left one counter-demonstrator dead. They fuss about Trump's long-haul effect on the Republican Party, on the nation, and what his ascent implies for America's global remaining as the pioneer of the free world. I don't know I've ever observed them lower. However, in meeting subsequent to meeting, Republican advisors have had one steady message for customers and imminent customers running for office in 2018. It's a message they let me know won't change, even after the torrential slide of feedback coordinated at Trump by kindred Republicans for his inability to instantly censure the racists who assembled in Charlottesville and his choice to conflate them with counter-dissenters. Your heart reveals to you that he's terrible for the nation. Your head takes a gander at surveying information among Republican essential voters and perceives how prominent he is, said one Republican strategist who, as the majority of the almost 24 I met for this story, asked for secrecy with a specific end goal to talk openly and secure their customers. It would be misbehavior not to encourage customers to connect themselves to that notoriety. Don't worry about it. The president's slow national endorsement appraisals, his fits and bedlam at the White House. On the off chance that you need to win selection in your Republican essential and, in the solidifying red state-blue state separate, the general race that takes after, grasp Trump and hang on tight. To break the dam, you need to place splits in it, and here we are stopping up the splits, this strategist included. It's truly negative, however so is governmental issues. It says much in regards to Trump's unfriendly takeover that even the most insubordinate individuals from the GOP counseling group get themselves bolted into a vital organization together that reinforces the president's close-to-home political interests. For a considerable length of time, the Republican Party has been tainted by a strain of self-hatred, with base voters fingering the political experts in charge of choosing their competitors. Many Trump voters reflexively doubt the gathering insiders whom they saw whispering about taking the presidential assignment from Trump at the Republican National Convention the previous summer. While a few agents are working unobtrusively in the shadows, for the benefit of nascent 2020 essential challengers, most discover their situation is dire heading into the 2018 midterm decisions, when the dominant part of applicants will even now be adjusting themselves, assuming restrictively, with Trump. The bigger issue is that Republican voters are as yet cutting the president a lot of slack. Trump's triumphant coalition was pulled into his message of powerful financial development and higher wages, and that is still more critical to these voters than his intermittently off-putting meme. A not meager part of the base relishes his politically mistaken assaults on the media and his resistance even with tip-top abuse over Charlottesville, and they will remain by him regardless. President Trump, in a few sections of the nation, is exceptionally prominent, and individuals are assuming the best about him, said David Carney, a Republican agent in New Hampshire who is more okay with the president's irregular style than a large number of his brethren. What specialists believe is insignificant. Trump, it turns out, was prophetic when he gloated a year ago that he could remain amidst Fifth Avenue and shoot some individual and I wouldn't lose voters. On the one hand, the president's surveying is awful and deteriorating, His national employment endorsement rating has fallen underneath 40% in the Real Clear Politics Normal, and, as per CNN, the level of Republicans who say they emphatically affirm of his execution has tumbled from 73% in February to 59% prior this month. In any case, those figures can be misdirecting. A CBS News survey uncovered that in spite of the fact that 55% of Americans disliked his reaction to Charlottesville, 67% of Republicans endorsed and 68% concurred with him, spreading approach fault for the savagery among the racial oppressors and the counter-nonconformists. It's a vexing reality for Republican occupants and competitors who may be additionally ready to scold Trump post-Charlottesville. While Trump is profoundly disagreeable among Democrats and a section of more customary Republicans, and is losing support among independents, he is holding solid in red states where Mueller's supposition still runs solid. Similar voters who safeguarded Trump's racially tinged assaults on a Hispanic judge and his conduct in the Access Hollywood tape are not turning on him now. That leaves political consultants in the awkward position of urging their customers to walk a scarcely discernible difference with regards to condemning the president, regardless of how cathartic it may be for them by and by. Tim Mueller, a veteran Republican agent and graduate of previous Florida Representative Jeb Bush's 2016 battle, is a vocal Trump commentator who picked an alternate way after Trump secured the GOP designation. Be that as it may, he's talked about with his advisor companions the inward clash many are battling with, and he's thoughtful. I worked for hopefuls who were against gay marriage. I'm gay, I get it. You in some cases need to settle on decisions. No competitor is immaculate, said Mueller, who now lives in Oakland, California, where he is an accomplice at Definer's Public Affairs. Be that as it may, this is not only one person out of 435 voting in the House, he proceeded. This is the first run-through in current circumstances where the Republican counseling class does not respect their own leader at all. How would you adjust that, giving a word of wisdom with the goal that the applicants you work for win? It's intense, and individuals have taken diverse courses. The issue for Republican agents isn't Trump's strategy plan, which is ostensibly lined up with the gathering's needs. Neil Gorsuch on the Supreme Court? Check. Canceling and supplanting previous President Barack Obama's Human Services Law? Check. Redesigning the U.S. Charge Code? Check. Expanding military spending? Check. Etc. down the line. Their concern is Trump, whose inconsistent conduct and clamorous West Wing have made executing on that motivation about outlandish. Particularly in the wake of watching his treatment of occasions in Charlottesville, numerous Republican advisers, inside and outside Washington, think the president is a terrible person, something none can review considering President George W. Shrub nor the two presidential chosen people going before Trump. Senator John McCain of Arizona and previous Massachusetts Representative Mitt Romney. The Republican political class had hoard dissatisfactions with each of the three. Be that as it may, with Trump, the issues are more individual than political. His self-respect, supercilious association with reality, and ideological flexibility go past anything they have encountered amid years' work to choose other truly blemished government officials. In my meetings with GOP strategists, I continued hearing similar things. I experience considerable difficulties considering him important. I don't trust he's a genuine traditionalist, one surveyor let me know. Another counselor stated, I'm not a fanatic of Trump, but rather I don't loathe him. More often than not, I simply shake my head and say, truly? Republicans' Trump schizophrenia has streamed down to policymaking. They stress over the president's ruinous conduct wasting the open doors introduced by full GOP control of the legislature. They likewise stress over progress approving Trump's inconsiderate jokes, perpetually adjusting American political talk. I can be steady of approaches the president is backing. The technique concerns me, the tweeting, the things he says, the tidy up with. MSNBC have Mika Brzezinski, those things. A Republican who informs individuals regarding Congress said. I've observed how he quite recently went and destroyed the dignity of presidential talk. That is the place my anxiety with him lies. It's a frustrating issue for Washington elites whose power is debilitated by their devotion. Governmental issues, and hence political counseling, are in the throes of interruption on account of an intruder with little regard for the gathering device and political biological system that made his climb conceivable. For the Republican strategists on the cutting edges, Trumpism introduces a stark decision as they look toward another age-forming race in 2018. Regardless of whether they buckle, rebrand, or introduce better thoughts may predict whether a Washington will see another of Trump's kind or an arrival to regularity.